But I'm going to go to my grave saying that, like, you're going to encounter minor chords if you play this music. Okay? Can I get a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Right? We see that, right? Yeah. We're going to have dominant type chords. We're going to encounter situations where those two are put together in a very short frame of, of time, interval of time, which is a short 2/5. It's like in the case of the key of C, D minor and G7 in one measure. Okay? We're also going to have long 2/5s, where that minor chord and that dominant chord aren't really a vamp, but they take place in the space of two measures. We're going to have major type chords. We're going to have short minor 2/5s, which you can kind of see the example there, and long minor 2/5s. And, really, there aren't any other harmonic situations that I've ever, been confronted with that don't fall under that category. And always somebody will say, well, you left diminished chords out. But I actually didn't, because I'm going to make this even easier in a way. Diminished chords are dominant chords. They're unstable. So when I'm improvising and when I'm thinking about all of this, basically I have two modes of thinking. A chord is either stable or a chord is unstable. So when you go to music school, they teach you that, like, in the major scale and with the harmony that's derived from the major scale, there are like 7 functions. There's the 1 chord is tonic, the 2 chord is supertonic, the 3 chord is the mediant, the 4 chord is subdominant, the 5 chord is dominant, the 6 chord is submediant, and the 7 chord is what we call leading tone. Okay, great. Study that, pass it on the test, then throw it out, because to me, chords are either tonic, which is stable, or they're dominant. And yes, there could be an argument that there's varying degrees of those things happening, but not for me. It's either stable or it's unstable. And basically, and I'm going to just kind of do a little foreshadowing here, if I'm playing in a situation where the chord is stable, I'm trying to figure out how to get to something that's unstable. And if it's unstable, I'm trying to figure out how to get back to stable. It's kind of like this. If I'm home, I'm trying to figure out how to get away from home. And if I'm away from home, I'm trying to get back home, right? I mean, this is just life in general, right? I mean, that's one of the cool things about music is there's so many, metaphors, but we can take things from our regular day life and help us, maybe learn music a little bit faster and sometimes a little bit more thorough. So with this concept of tonic and dominant, in a 2/5-1, I would approach the D minor chord as tonic. I think of that as a stable chord. And then when it goes to the 5 chord, G7, it's unstable. Okay? And then when I get to the major chord, it's unstable. So I'm trying to create this, this balance of thinking. Stable, unstable, stable, unstable, stable, unstable. And the two kind of need each other to really exist, right? Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to just kind of pose almost a rhetorical question to you guys. If you were going to start to learn a foreign language today, what would be the first thing you would need to know? Okay? And the answer probably is you would need to know the alphabet. What kind of nomenclature are we actually dealing with? And after the alphabet, most times what we really need to know is some survival skills. And these would be phrases like, number 1, where's the bathroom? Right? If you're in a foreign country, that's going to be pretty important. Okay? Number 2, what my name is. What is your name? Maybe number 3 would be something like, where's the bus station, right? I mean, these are just like survival skills. Well, we have those in every language, including musical languages. So let's go to the next page. Okay, so I have this tune that I have kind of that I've put up here. It's basically the examples I'm going to be showing you are taken from transcriptions that I did of Grant Green. Chase held up a book a minute ago that was Essential Jazz Lines in the style of Grant Green, or Miles Davis, I think. And I did this book on Grant Green, and it was super fun to do. I took about 5 months, and I transcribed, this sounds ridiculous, but I transcribed 15 albums of Grant Green solos. And really, with Grant Green, I probably could have just done like 5 solos, and I would have had all the language that I actually needed, because Grant Green's one of my all-time like top 5 favorite guitar players. But there's a really strong argument that he didn't have as much unique vocabulary as some of his, colleagues like Jim Hall or Wes Montgomery, and certainly on the horn, Hank Mobley or Joe Henderson or John Coltrane, people from the era. He played a lot of repeated ideas, and that's what I learned in 15 hours. I'd go through these 15 hours, I'd transcribe something, I'm like, man, he's playing the same stuff. So I really, I felt like at a time, I really kind of felt like I understood his music. But so I put this etude together for my students, and what it is we're going to look at this tune, All the Things You Are. Okay, and then I'm going to just show you how to, maybe do some practicing over it. But the first step is I want to analyze the harmonic structure or possible harmonic, identification of a tune. So in the case of All the Things You Are, we've got a minor chord, and then it leads directly to a long 2-5. Now, a little foreshadowing again, I could also say I've got a minor chord, and a dominant chord. I could think about those individually if I want, but sometimes I like to look for those, long 2-5s or just 2-5s and think about it as one harmonic situation. Okay? I'm not saying one way is better than the other. I'm saying that they can coexist, which you'll find out here. Okay? So then I've got major chord, major chord. Now notice what I'm doing is I'm not analyzing this in the sense of harmonic function. I'm not saying 6, 2, 5, 1. I'm not even worrying about that right now. I'm just saying something is either minor, dominant, or major, and reflecting, I guess, back to those harmonic situations that I had on the previous page. Minor chord, I'm in bar 9, minor chord, dominant. Okay, there's where a 2-5, I broke it down into a minor and a dominant line. Major, major, short 2-5, major. Then I've got a long 2-5, major. Long 2-5, major. Minor 2-5, finally one showed up. Minor, long 2-5, major chord, minor chord, minor chord, minor chord, long 2-5, major, minor 2-5. And I would suggest whatever tune you're working on, if you're going to use, this kind of system for practicing and learning that I'm going to share with you, I would take a tune and do that. Write it out. Just identify what those harmonic situations are so that we can get about the business of practicing.